The 2000s were supposed to be the decade AI quietly took over. Smart homes, robot assistants, and machines that could think like us. It was the dawn of a new digital era. But for every groundbreaking success, there were plenty of wild experiments that crashed and burned. Some were overhyped, underbuilt, or just flat-out weird. These are the AI inventions of the 2000s that failed miserably, and the wild stories behind them. Number 1, Sony Aibo Meet Aibo, Sony's robotic dog that could wag its tail, recognize faces, and even learn tricks. Sony's Aibo wasn't just a toy, it was marketed as the world's first autonomous pet. For a moment, it felt like the future was sitting right there on your living room floor. But the fantasy quickly ran into reality. Aibo's AI was mostly pre-programmed routines. It didn't really learn the way a real pet does. Owners expected a companion, but what they got was repetition. And the price tag? $1,500 for the cheapest model, with costly repairs and software updates on top. By 2006, Sony pulled the plug. The servers that powered AIBO's personality updates went offline, leaving thousands of robotic pets lifeless. People were devastated. Some even held funerals for their robots. AIBO didn't fail because it was bad. It failed because it promised emotion, something AI just couldn't deliver back then. Number 2, Microsoft Clippy, that little paperclip with big ideas and an even bigger ego. Microsoft thought a helpful assistant that could read your mind would change productivity forever. Instead, it became the punchline of every office joke. Clippy constantly popped up at the worst moments, offering advice no one asked for. It didn't understand context, nuance, or frustration. Its cheerful interruptions were more aggravating than helpful. People didn't need a smart helper. They needed someone or something that actually understood what they were doing. By the time Microsoft retired Clippy, it had earned a place in infamy. But imagine it today, a Clippy 2.0 that knows when to speak, when to stay silent, and actually helps without getting in the way. The idea wasn't wrong. The execution just couldn't keep up with reality. Number 3, Google Wave. Google Wave was supposed to change the way teams collaborated. Chats, document co-editing, bots that could do tasks automatically. It had everything. It was ambitious, it was brilliant, and nobody knew how to use it. The interface was overwhelming, the purpose confusing, and the technology ahead of what people were ready for. Instead of simplifying communication, it made it more complicated. Tasks got lost, messages piled up, and users gave up. It was too smart for its own good, and too complicated to be helpful. Wave disappeared quietly, leaving only screenshots and blog posts behind. But the concept wasn't wrong. Real-time, AI-assisted collaboration is still the holy grail of productivity. With better design, smaller learning curves, and smarter AI today, Wave's dream could finally work. Number 4, Honda Asimo. Honda's Asimo looked like something out of a Pixar movie. A humanoid robot walking, running, even climbing stairs. It wowed audiences and showed what advanced robotics could do. But behind the applause was a problem. It had no real purpose. It was slow, expensive, and couldn't interact meaningfully with people in a home or office. It was a marvel of engineering, but a flop as a practical product. Asimo taught the world that just being amazing isn't enough. People want AI that solves real problems, not a robot that can do a slow moonwalk down a lab hallway. Number 5, Reply Q1. Japan's Reply Q1 was a lifelike android designed to converse and react like a human. It could blink, nod, and even respond to questions, a glimpse of the realistic robot companion future. But reality hit fast. Its speech recognition was limited, conversations felt awkward, and its face fell right into the uncanny valley. Too human to ignore, too fake to love. People were fascinated at first, but the novelty wore off fast. Reply Q1 failed because it promised intimacy that it couldn't deliver. Today, with better language models and smoother animations, that same idea could finally feel alive. Number 6. Friendster was one of the first social networks, and it tried something ambitious, suggesting friends and connections using AI. The idea was simple: let the machine figure out who you should meet. But the execution was messy. The algorithms couldn't scale to millions of users, and the recommendations were often meaningless or repetitive. People stopped trusting the system, and slow performance turned early excitement into frustration. Friendster's technology wasn't bad, it just wasn't ready for the real world. Today, smarter AI with better datasets powers platforms like LinkedIn and Facebook, proving that Friendster was a blueprint, just one that stumbled. Number 7. Apple Newton. The Apple Newton dreamed of a paperless future. It could recognize handwriting and predict text, a revolutionary idea for its time. But the handwriting recognition was painfully inconsistent. The device misread letters, misinterpreted notes, and made simple tasks feel like a battle. People laughed at its mistakes, and it quickly became the butt of jokes. The AI behind Newton wasn't flawed. It was ahead of its time. With today's computing power and machine learning, handwriting recognition works seamlessly on tablets and phones. Newton wasn't wrong. The world just had to catch up. Number 8. Early voice assistants. Before Siri and Alexa, companies tried to make computers talk and listen, with limited success. Speech-to-text and voice commands sounded futuristic, but they were frustrating to use. Accuracy was poor. Latency made conversations awkward, and computers frequently misunderstood instructions. Instead of feeling like magic, the technology felt like a gimmick that only worked half the time. The failure wasn't in the idea, it was in the timing. Today, voice AI runs on faster hardware with huge data sets, making assistants like Alexa, Google Assistant, and Siri actually useful. Back then, all they did was make people yell at their computers. Number 9. Flickr Magic. Flickr tried to make your photos smarter with AI that could tag and categorize images automatically. The goal was brilliant. No more sorting, just upload and let the machine do the work. But the AI got a lot wrong. Cats were labeled as dogs, friends were misidentified, and the results were often confusing or embarrassing. Users lost trust fast, and the magic felt more like a headache. With modern deep learning and facial recognition, this exact idea now powers Google Photos and Apple Photos. But back then, the technology just wasn't ready. Number 10. Microsoft. Bob tried to make computers friendly, giving you cartoon guides to help navigate Windows. It was fun, cute, and infuriating. The AI was overly simplistic, condescending, and completely out of touch with what users actually needed. People wanted efficiency, not a talking dog or a house full of animated assistants explaining every click. Bob's failure is a lesson in humility. Good AI has to match human expectations. You can't charm your way around poor functionality. Today, hybrid interfaces with smart helpers work, but only when they're genuinely useful, not just entertaining. Across every one of these stories, the pattern is clear. Brilliant ideas, messy execution, and the real world saying, not yet. IBO promised companionship. Clippy promised helpfulness. Google Wave promised collaboration. Simo promised interaction. Reply promised humanity. All of them stumbled, sometimes painfully, sometimes tragically. But failure isn't the end of the story, it's the blueprint. These products remind us that timing, design, and real human needs matter just as much as the technology itself. The 2000s didn't lack imagination. It lacked the infrastructure, data sets, and lessons we've only learned since. And now, today, many of these same ideas could finally work. They were